Okay, guys, it's my last night in Penang, Malaysia, right across the street from the convention center where the Northern International AV show was held. And let me just tell you guys, I was a little bit skeptical. It's not the biggest show. It was a 33-hour trip to get here. I've been living out of a suitcase, living on airplanes. I was like, really, should I go to this? But I am so glad I did. It was probably one of the best decisions of my life because this show was super memorable. Not in the traditional sense. I mean, this wrap-up video is going to be a lot different than normal videos. It's not going to be like listing a bunch of rooms, although I'll give you a few, of sound quality. The one interesting thing about this, in a convention center, but they had to create rooms within a room in a big convention center area. So those rooms had a lot of bleed through. It's not the ideal environment for judging sound quality, and that's something that even in hotel rooms and Expona, it's one of my pet peeves. I mean, you see all these guys give reports of what's best rooms. I know for a fact some of them didn't even sit in the sweet spot, and they're talking about how it was good or bad. I mean, that's why I like to film me going into the room. You can see when I get the sweet spot, if I got to choose the music or know the music being played, if I can tell them the volume I like. You get to see organically if I'm really in a position to make a decision on something. So many people make knee-jerk conclusions, and this is definitely not a show for that metric of sound quality per se, but it was a great show for having the time to get to know each person in the room, the technology in the room, the brands, and get that intuition that is much more important than just hearing a song in the sweet spot or off axis in a room, a hotel room, or wherever. That's not the value of these shows, guys. I hope you're getting that experience from me, and that's one of the reasons why I did this channel. I've been doing this since the late 90s. I would read Stereophile, Absolute Sound show reports. It was just, model numbers, price, and one little blurb about the sound. What I really think is much more important about these shows is getting to know the people behind it. And to that end, I've already uploaded tons of content, but I'm going to have an interview with the guy that built his servers himself here in Malaysia. I built my own servers. I was impressed with what he's doing, and you're going to hear a full interview with him. Gary Ko is here. This is one of his best markets for his products in Penang, he's telling me. And you're going to hear a lot more from Gary about the different voltages in Asia in certain countries and why that's important, and a designer to understand that. It's not just about flipping a switch on the back of your gear, and some other amazing things about Gary Ko. I'll have some interviews on the guy that did that crazy spider thingy tweak that you put on cables, and even an A/B tester thing that he had so you could A/B test it. You're going to hear that interview too. So I got lots of content to come. And in terms of best rooms per se, just to give you things that stood out to me just off the cuff, obviously the Gary Ko room with the Genesis. He also had the Wilson Benesh speakers. He had EAR. I have some information on EAR. I'll do that in a separate video. Also, CH Precision, Great Electronics, Magico, and of course Gary had his gear, and Jadi. And I think that room benefited from being at the end of the hall, so there was only one other room near it, and it was soundproofed. And so that was my refuge. If I really wanted to listen to music and hear something at high quality, all the three speaker systems there were awesome. So that was a great room. The Dolly room continues to impress me. It's got that unique tonal balance that I just find interesting and enjoyable to listen to for a long time. And then the technology behind their drivers, they're not just buying, a special SKU assigned to them from XYZ manufacturer of drivers. Very impressive. That was really nice. Also, some of the rooms, even in those little hand-built cubicles, that's the problem with the show like this. They had to build those cubicles inside of a big room. Some of them still got pretty good sound. I thought the Diva Utopia by Focal did a great job. Goldman was very impressive. It's just so many that got better than I expected in that room. The Rido room, they did an extra large room that really suited it, and that sounded good. Rido and ScanSonic kind of mirror images of each other. That was a great room. In terms of just listening though, it wasn't the best any of those cubicle type rooms. Some of them were vibrating, and then there's a lot of bleed through. However, it just made everything fun. When you've got everything kind of combined, I'll tell you, it's not for sound quality purposes, but it's fun. You always know your head's on a swivel. Where's that coming from? What's going on here? And then they had a concert and seminar, and I have a big video with Rob Watts of Chord. You're going to want to hear about their closed form million tap filters, something I know pretty well. I did some testing with HQ Player, simulating some of the Chord filters. You're going to hear a tech talk from him on that. Very interesting. I filmed the whole thing, and I even got some Q&A at the end. So I have a ton of content still to come, but really the biggest takeaway, guys, is this city, this show really appealed to and showed me things I've never seen before. On top of some products that I mentioned, and just weird brand names from B1 something, B1 Way, God Amp. It was just some weird product names and unique stuff, and that spider tweak. But also cosplayers. I was the least crazy dressed person here in some of those rooms because the cosplayers were doing stuff. I've got tons of stuff you never see. And I'll tell you another thing you never see at a show in America that was evident today is crowded on a Sunday. I mean, up to 6 o'clock when the show closed. In fact, staying open till 9 o'clock during the other 2 nights, and then 6 o'clock on the last day. Families, I'm not sure if it's just the culture here, or they did have the local politician come, the mayor or the chief, I don't forget what they call it, of Penang come yesterday, and maybe that brought a lot of people today to check it out. But let me tell you, it was impressive and fun today, just atypical of a normal show. And that's why I wanted to come here. I didn't want to see the same things I've seen at Expo and Dallas and Tampa. Those all have unique cultures to those shows and things I like about that, but this was totally different, and that's what I enjoyed, and hopefully that comes across in the videos. Obviously, if you can make it to this show in the future, I would definitely encourage you to do so. And in fact, this whole country stood out to me because not only the people behind this show, running this show, A+, hopefully I'll get an interview before I leave tomorrow with Wilson. He was too busy today. He's the one that organized it, contacted me, invited me to come to this. I'd like you to get to know him better. But all the vendors, the people, I mean, a lot of them didn't know who I was, but they were super friendly to me. Everybody in the hotel staff, the city in general, super safe. I didn't know if they'd be welcoming to Americans or not. I just enjoyed my entire visit, felt super safe here, and the culture here is definitely something to be impressed with. I mean, you know, they don't, I think even recently there's been somebody in America, some political pundit made fun of how much Malaysians make in terms of their annual salary. Well, that's just another positive. They don't need a lot of money to be good people and be friendly. I mean, and this culture here is something I can definitely appreciate. And it's so much different from America and Texas in some ways, but in some ways it reminds me so much of where I'm building my Airbnb, Fredericksburg. Just the friendliness, the good-naturedness, the family values, just a welcoming, just genuine people that are passionate and have a culture. And it's really a mixed culture city from Indonesia, Chinese, UK, Dutch influences. And I just felt good here. The intuition was off the charts. I really don't even want to leave, even though I'm so tired. And that's a big litmus test. I could stay here for another week easily. I'd love to visit Kuala Lumpur, other places, but got to get back. I've got more travel involved. Got to get more videos out for you guys from this. Still have some things from Expo to share with you too, and even all the way back to shows that we're back in 2024. So let me get started on that. Hopefully you enjoyed my coverage, and I'll see you back here soon.